Untied from mama's apron strings, past the point of no return, drinking from the loving cup, girl, growing up.
The Deep End is really a record about love and the courage to fall into it. Rosanne Cash and I were talking, and she asked me if I'd written a lot of sad songs because I'd had some loss in my life. And it was only when she asked me that I realized that I really hadn't. I'd written more songs about the joyful side and this kind of risky side of love.
I never was one for the shallow water, never afraid of the dark. Hard to handle the excitable kind, take off running when I could have walked. And maybe I should have listened when mama said, girl, to yourself be true. I was hard-headed, couldn't make up my mind, was I waiting for only you? I will jump right into the deep end of the river of love, love, love.
You know, there's an interesting juxtaposition, I think, in my writing with soul music, old school soul music, which I'm really a fan of. But I'm basically a rock and roller, so they kind of get, joined together at the hip in some of these songs that I've written, and with all the great players that we had on board. All the great guitar players like Roscoe Amble and Big Al Anderson and Andy York, who produced the record, Cliff Goodwin, who's the guitarist from Rebel Montez. We just get a lot of great, soulful flavor.
When you feel like you're swimming in a lake of fire and your heart's running over with your desire, you've been a little lonely, you've been a little sad, your boss looks at you funny and you get real mad.
Love You Right was recorded the same day as The Deep End in Andy York's home studio. Andy York co-produced the record with me, and Andy came up with this snaky little guitar line. As soon as he was done, we looked at each other and we just said, Don Rich, the genius cat who used to play with Buck Owens and the Buckaroos. And so it's probably the most country song on the record, although I don't even know what that means anymore. And this record is more themed around love than it is themed around a certain genre.
Let me love you right, love you right, love you all night. Well, you probably had it coming right from the start, but it snuck up on you and it's tearing you apart. You can't be lost on this planet alone.
Dion DiMucci, I'm honored to say, has become a friend in the last few years, and we decided to cover this Southern soul nugget out of my collection called Cry Baby Cry. Dion and I sang, he sang in Boca Raton, Florida, I sang up in New York, and somehow we think we made a pretty good record out of everything together. And we've since had a lot of chance to talk about the song and reminisce about different things, and I'm just honored to have him with me on the record.
And that's to know when he's reached the bottom and there's only one thing left for him to do, and that's to bow his head in solitude and cry. Baby, baby, try to understand.
Detroit, Michigan, and Motown has always been a big love of mine, and my friend Marshall Crenshaw comes from Detroit. So when I asked him to be on the record, we thought about this Marvin Gaye and Mary Wells duet called What's the Matter with You, Baby? And we had the great generosity of Levon Helm to come on board for that track as well. And we recorded it over at Levon's studio in Woodstock. And that was a great day of music.
I wanna know what's the matter with you, baby.
We're here today in New York City at the legendary Lakeside Lounge on Avenue B. And this is one of the great landmarks of Americana roots music in the United States. And my friend Roscoe Amble owns the Lakeside, and he was one of also the featured guest artists on The Deep End. He plays on Love, Make You Do Stupid Things, which, by the way, is going to be the first video from the record. And Roscoe was good enough to make a cameo appearance in the video with me, and as well as good enough to join us on the track.
this hard-red byway, and the windshield wipers can't dry this river of tears. Love make you do stupid things. Cry, 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 ache, ache, ache. Get up in the morning with your heart already breaking. Oh, love make you do stupid things.
Critical response to The Deep End was pretty overwhelming for me. The first review came from Dave Marsh, who just said there are so many wow moments, and that was overwhelming enough. But everyone from Downbeat to the Bluegrass Special, Blues Review, we got reviewed in every genre, and I thought that was really surprising, but it was also very gratifying for me to know that so many people from so many different parts of American popular music had been able to connect with it.
Make you do stupid things. For nights on end, I've been forsaken. I do all the giving and you do all the taking. Oh, love, make you do stupid things. Oh, love, make you.
The Cradle Did Rock was written at the first post-Katrina Mardi Gras, and I'm very proud that it's come out for the benefit of the New Orleans Musicians Clinic, which is a charity that I really support, on a CD called Get You a Healin', which is available for a digital download. And people like Richard Thompson and the Subdudes, B.B. King, and myself contributed bonus tracks to this CD, again, for the benefit of the New Orleans Musicians Clinic and the musicians of New Orleans.
Good souls, buckets of pain, caught in the crossfire, caught in the rain, falling and falling like tears from their eyes. The cradle did rock as the river did rise.
I'm really proud of this record, The Deep End, and I hope you enjoy it. We had so many great friends come on board with us, from Ian Hunter, Marshall Crenshaw, Dion, that were my duet partners, to guests like Levon Helm, Roscoe Amble, Big Al Anderson, G.E. Smith, Andy York, the record's co-producer, Catherine Russell, and the members of Rebel Montez. It was a great effort on the part of everyone, and I hope you dig it.